There are many, many figures in our society who contribute an enormous amount to our culture, and people who have unconventional personal lives, and yet they seemed exempt from criticism. Jeffrey Epstein. The
Well, wait a
financier,
minute. Wait a minute.
No, let me finish.
I see it.
Jeffrey Epstein.
I see it.
No one, criticizes him, and yet.
Oh, wait a minute.
I
Wait
have
a
to
minute.
accept
Wait a minute.
Is a double standard.
Jim,
and it's wrong.
Jim,
And it's
hold on.
okay.
Hold on.
Look,
Hold
Conan-
on. Much has been said. Much has been said about Jeffrey Epstein. Terrible things.
No,
have been
Jeff. I'm talking about Jeff Epstein, the New York financier.
Yes, we're talking about the same Jeff Epstein.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I never heard.
Oh, it was a big story in the news. Huge.
No.
Yes, for you to say no one ever
Jeff
said.
Epstein.
Yes.
Jeff Epstein.
Yes, the financier.
With the island.
Yes, he had an island that I've never been to. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, with respect, if there was some news about Jeff Epstein, I would have heard.
No, I don't know what rock you've been under. It was a huge story, and Jeff Epstein I have to tell you, he's gone. He's dead.
What do you mean?
He's dead.
He's dead.
He's
No.
dead.
Sorry, nice try. If Jeff Epstein were deceased, I'm pretty sure I would know about it. Now, I admit I've not, probably since the pandemic, I have not talked to him.
That would make sense. That would make
But
sense. He's been dead for a number of years, Jim.
I'll tell you, there's one easy way. Let's call Ghislaine Maxwell.
No, we're not calling Ghislaine Maxwell.
Why not? Okay.
She's in prison. She's in prison for crimes she committed with Jeff Epstein.
Ghislaine's in prison.
Yes, stop calling her Ghislaine. How do you know these people? Jim.
Conan.
Jim.
All right.
Jim, listen.
Okay.
Listen
I'm
to me.
just saying, I'm your friend. You know what? It doesn't matter what you do in your private or personal.
I don't do anything in my private life.
Okay.
All right, Kody, I have an update, continuation of the story I was telling you about my dripping water from the ceiling at All the President's Men screening.
I recall. Go back to the theater?
I went to the same theater on Monday with our friends of the show, compadre, Carter Sims and his wonderful partner, Lauren. And we went to go see A Big Beautiful Journey, Theater 14, the same exact theater where the dripping water was.
What are the
Luckily
odds?
for this
Yeah.
show, the water was not actively dripping, yet there was still a large trash can in the back that was about half filled with water. So it was ready for the drip, but no interruptions for this movie. And I kind of would have probably enjoyed a couple interactions. Have you seen A Big Beautiful Bold Beautiful Journey?
I've not yet. I love Margot Robbie, but it's kind of been getting shelled and it like completely bombed as well, I believe. You weren't a big fan, I don't think either, right?
Yeah, I would say overall the emotion that it was trying to reach and trying to convey just never hit me at all. I never felt anything watching it. I was mostly just bored.
Interesting. Is it like Secret Life of Walter Mitty, but just not emotional? Is that kind of similar, I guess?
It is in the same kind of hope core vein. A movie that is much more successful that I think is kind of doing a similar thing where it's about finding love, but also coming to reckon with the love that you had for your parents or maybe didn't have, and how the way your parents treat you then affects the way you treat other people. A movie like About Time, I think, is more successful in taking kind of like a sci-fi concept with that like hope core feeling and resulting in like a successful movie. This one, Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie are respectively walking through doors that teleport them to their past, to different events in their pasts where they then have to, learn something or grow from it. It's a little bit a Christmas story. Ebenezer Scrooge, Ghost of Christmas Past is there. No Muppets though, unfortunately.
Ooh, biggest downfall for sure there, but that actually is interesting conceptually, I would say. A little sci-fi aspect, so I might get into it.
Yeah, I mean, but it's one of those things where it's like, oh, Margot Robbie's mother died, and that's caused her trauma, and now she can't deal with that. And Colin Farrell was loved too much by his parents, so he has trauma because it's a little ridiculous.
Sounds pretty relatable, so I might check it out. But yeah, I think it's one of the biggest bombs of the year too, which is unfortunate because I like both those actors, and seems that like at least they're trying something different, which doesn't happen that much these days. But yeah, financially it didn't work out, unfortunately.
Visually, it's got some interesting ideas. It looks pretty, but yeah, overall, it's just kind of a miss on a lot of fronts. You know what isn't a miss, Kody? One Battle After Another. That is a fucking hit. At the box office, maybe kind of a tepid response, but would you agree this movie is successful on a lot of fronts?
Oh yeah, I think this is definitely one of the better movies of the year so far in my eyes for sure. And I mean, it won the box office. I feel like it's a PTA movie. That's impressive in its own right. I mean, it does help when you have Leo, kind of as the leading man. I feel like he has pretty good box office draw these days. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this movie. And like for all of other PTA's projects as well, I feel like everything that I've seen from him, I kind of just I understand him more, and I do really enjoy him as a filmmaker, just like his style. I think he does ooze style, which we need more in Hollywood as well. But I think with this ensemble and just like a fun premise that something that you even said, I had seen on Letterboxd, like him making a modern day movie is just crazy, compared to everything else that he obviously has done. So I really liked it. I don't know if I'm the biggest fan as you, but how was your experience watching it?
Really enjoyed this movie. I've seen it twice. I got to go see it for the first time last Friday night, opening night in 70 millimeter at the Music Box Chicago. It was the first time Mina and I had visited there. And just the crowd and the environment was great. People were laughing, people were really into the movie. And then I went and saw it again this past Sunday at the Alamo Draft House, and no leaks from the ceiling in either showing. So that was definitely a positive. But I just think this movie, while it is not my favorite PTA movie, and while it definitely has some flaws, it is a movie that feels so right for now, and a movie that is really resonating on a lot of levels. I know it's been kind of um, being worked on and fiddled with by PTA for over 20 years. But to me, like, this is the movie we almost need right now. It has a lot to say about our contemporary times, and it is cool to kind of be set in the present, even though there are some things about it that kind of make it almost set in like an alternate reality or like a different timeline, which I think is interesting in considering some Peacemaker stuff that's happening right now as well, right, Kody?
I didn't know you were caught up. Are you?
I've been hearing
Oh,
rumblings.
this
Unfortunately, I'm not
season is
fully caught up,
great.
but
The theme song in season two is even better, but yeah, it is very topical, and it is funny that kind of this has aligned, with current events, and the same thing with Peacemaker too, of the alternate universe. Um, yeah, crazy stuff, but I think like that does it make it even better that it can kind of go to different levels, on these subject matters, but also not be about them at all and kind of have its own story, in the own right. And I think the characters for me in this like really do carry it. Leo, I don't even think he's the most interesting in here, which is crazy to say, but he's kind of in dad mode. And then I really thought the two female leads, Chase
Tiana Taylor
Infinity.
and Chase Infinity, yeah.
Yeah, Chase Infinity. This is like her screen debut, basically, which is insane.
Indianapolis native, Kody, and
Oh,
then
really?
she
Okay.
went to
I didn't know
college in
that.
Chicago, so all sorts of Midwest connections.
Shout out. I'm even a bigger fan now, so that's awesome. But yeah, I thought the person that really did steal the show, honestly, was Tiana Taylor. She was by far my favorite performance in the film. And, one of my least favorite things about the film was that she really wasn't in it that much. I guess minor spoiler alert, but I thought she was great. And kind of, I wish they just had more scenes together in a sense, because both of them I thought were really, really awesome.
This movie is made by the actors in the supporting roles and the wonderful supporting characters that each of them play. I feel like Tiana Taylor, of course, Chase Infinity, Benicio del Toro, Sean Penn, like each of these people is playing very unique uh and like fleshed out people. They all have quirks, they all have ticks, they all have these internal desires that they're kind of working through. And then you even go deeper than that, and you've got like Alana Haim, who's now appeared in two PTA movies, showing up. You've got her name is actually Jungle Pussy, Kody, but she plays Jungle Pussy in the movie as well. Like you have characters like that. You've got like all the Christmas Adventurer Clubs people that are just absolutely terrifying. There's a lot of stuff to say about all their performances. Tiana Taylor, I think, is a person who is going to be a star. She really also hasn't been in a ton of movies. There was one, 1001, which was a small like indie drama set in New York City that I caught at Virtual Sundance last year. and really enjoyed. I think she is, like you said, no spoilers for the first 45 hour of this movie, such a powerful force, and like everything is pushed because of her. And when it transitions more to kind of Leo as your lead with the others around, it's all kind of living in the legacy of, or the hole that's missing because Tiana Taylor's not in the movie, which I think is an interesting thing. And then Sean Penn, to talk about him, like he's the villain of the story, obviously, but he's scary and he's creepy, but he's also pathetic, right? And this movie's about white supremacy and men in power and the things that they do, and like he just plays that just absolute like worthlessness so well. Like there's just something, you almost feel bad for him, but you're scared of it. Like there's an amazing duality to what he's able to create.
Yeah, he's a real weirdo freak in this movie, for sure. Like going into it, I didn't feel that much about Sean Penn, but like after watching this movie, I don't think I can like him or root for him as a person anymore. Just because like how despicable this character is. Like you said too, I mean, it's kind of a weird subplot thing where, the white nationalists, come into it and he's kind of going into their group, but it's almost just like he's also not even racist enough like for their group, which is crazy because that's just like his idea of just being accepted somewhere is so important to him that he'll do anything in a sense. It doesn't matter like what group it is, I feel like. And like you said, like the patheticness kind of just of him. Oh man, like it did hurt me a little bit watching him on screen a lot. So a lot of the performance is physical too, just like the way he walks, just irks me. And it's just disturbing. I don't know. Like it's a good performance, but I don't ever want to watch it again.
I mean, but that's the incredible thing. He's embodying it of his walk, the way he like moves his lower jaw and sticks out his teeth. Like every little quirk of the character is so defined. Like that to me is like that's real acting. Like that's when it's like this isn't just a person reading lines. Like this guy is embodying a lot of things here. And obviously Sean Penn, maybe some of that is within his own character.
Yeah, he does a good job, but yeah, again, it's hard to watch. And that it's similar thing for me with like Mickey 17 with Ruffalo. Like I get like what the performance is going for, but at the same time, I just don't like how it makes me feel.
I hear that. Yeah. But I want to talk about that thing with the central idea of this film, the white supremacists. And this is a minor spoiler, but their name of their club is the Christmas Adventurers, which I think is such a brilliant idea. And it's playing off that same thing of Sean Penn being pathetic and pitiful. There's something ridiculous, absurd, asinine just about the idea of like white supremacy and being such a racist like that. Like to us, it can be so silly. Obviously there is a terrifying like truth behind what these characters are doing, but I think the fact that like they're called the Christmas Adventurers is directly calling calling out the fact of how ridiculous they are and how absurd they are. And it's also that same thing of like in James Gunn's Superman, when you have the Bravia and Jaranpur and like the absurd, awful leader, where like if anybody's like, "Hey, this is rude to my country or rude to my belief systems," you're like, that is that evil thing you're gonna call it. Like if anybody was like, "Oh, I think the Christmas Adventurers, like I don't like the way it's presenting my worldview or my," you're like, really? Like you're gonna admit to that fact that you feel any sort of kinship or similarity? Because just the fact that like admitting that would be absurd. But when you have like real groups like the Proud Boys, like that's just as silly as fucking Christmas Adventurers. All hail Saint Nick.
Shout out Saint Nick for sure. But yeah, it is very hard to defend. And I mean, if that is the angle you're coming from, clear flaws, I would say. But I think this movie does a good job kind of satirizing, those, worldviews and those angles. And comedy does play a lot into that. Like you were saying, I mean, in my theater as well, I feel like, it was pretty alive. Sometimes even in like the tense moments, like, comedic lines would still get laughs and stuff. So
there's so many great lines in this film.
Yeah, it's a great script, I think, from PTA. And I think it just builds and builds. Like the first half hour might be my favorite part of it, honestly, of kind of just all that build up. Then once you get deeper, I feel like the Leo and Benicio scenes, like maybe that's the max comedy point. Another
we gotta talk
Benicio,
man.
Yeah. I mean, he knows karate as well now. He can kick our ass.
Sensei.
So But yeah, I thought like his performance, it's so low key, but it's also pretty dang good from Benicio. It might be one of my favorites that I've seen in a bit from him. I don't know. For Wes Anderson's early this year, which performance do you think is better?
I didn't love that movie that much.
But
Like
I think
he's
he's
fun in that.
good. He's
Yeah.
kind of having a oh my goodness, a
Renaissance?
renaissance.
Benisance? Del
Benicio.
Torresance?
He's been good for a while, honestly, but
I mean, yeah,
he was just in The Last Jedi, so I despise him. But
right. You've been coming around on him. And it's taking a lot for you to get there. I understand. I think that whole section of him in the film and everything that's happening in Bacton Cross is my favorite part of the whole movie. He is so calm, but he's like managing a million different things. He's dealing with Leo. He's dealing with the ice raids essentially on his town. And I think it's such a cool example of this movie's about revolutionaries in a lot of different ways and different types of revolutionaries. And what him and the people of his town represent is like communities coming together to support each other. Like that's another form of revolution, just like small acts of community and like of all these people working to support each other. There's the underground, tunnels. There's the church and the businesses and all these just different little like aspects of it coming together. And obviously he's like the focal point of that, just constantly cool, calm, able to multitask, handle a million different things at once. And it's such a fun sequence as we like follow him and Leo up into this apartment building with all this stuff going on. There's the skater gang that kind of leads Leo on a rooftop chase, which goes in a lot of fun ways. And then there's a great bit within the protest, which is so small, where they call in Eddie Van Halen. You remember this, Kody?
yeah,
And to me, the film Eddington earlier this year, like that scene is what like all of Eddington is about. And this movie is able to capture something like that in one scene and execute it and then be about so much more. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I do really like the world building aspects of that too, because yeah, I mean, in the first act, I feel like you do think it's centered, just on this family in a sense. But I mean, once we get to that Benicio, scene, like you said, he has his own world going on.
Which apparently he kind of encouraged, like wasn't originally there in the script. They waited, he showed up on set and added a lot of that stuff in himself. It was, I mean, obviously this was a movie about immigration and particularly like border patrol and kind of the militancy of that. But I think that like community aspects and the, as he describes it, the Latino Harriet Tubman situation, I think was all Benicio himself.
Well, that was dope. I mean, good producer as well. So maybe PTA will keep bringing him back. But yeah, I think he was great. And all of the scenes kind of leading up to that point, I think it did take the movie in a different direction where it was more about kind of the revolution over kind of these characters, which I thought was cool. Even though we do get back to kind of just the character endings, which I think are awesome as well. Shout out, just no spoilers, obviously, but like this movie has a dope car chase. Like PTA makes dope car chases. Which I
And
don't
the thing
know
is,
if I would ever thought I
this
would
is an
say that.
action movie, right, Kody? Like you would describe this as an.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with the description. It definitely has action elements. I think it's more of a thriller for sure. But sure, I mean, there's action scenes. Like I said, I mean, it was a great car chase, so that counts.
PTA is an active filmmaker. He is a kinetic filmmaker. The camera is always moving. People are always moving. There's very rarely scenes in his movie that are just like completely still. There's some sort of movement always happening, but he's never made an action movie, quote unquote. Like everything is much more character movie, character focused dramas. And you have like big action sequences in There Will Be Blood, whether it's like the oil spewing or, he beating, no spoilers again,
the
going
little
bowling alley action. But this is the first time he's like going out of his way to shoot action scenes. And while maybe there's, slower moments in the film, like the car chase, like you said, the rooftop chase, the initial raid of the facility to open the film with Tiana Taylor.
I think that's what makes a great action movie too, is like having these, good character build up and great character moments throughout, around those. So I think a lot of, filmmakers these days do need to take notes from PTA on just how to kind of script a movie. Because I mean, this is what, like 245, and for me,
it does not feel
it fell to shade over two, maybe. So I think the pacing is really awesome as well. And yeah, it is cool that, we get to have this awesome of a director, pair up with Leo later in his career during our lifetime. So I thought it was awesome seeing it in theaters personally.
Thanks for listening to the episode. You can follow the rest of our happenings over here at Kody and Korbin Have a Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at KHAP Podcasts, KHAPODCAST. Please follow us on Spotify, give us a rating, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow along for more.
Something that I think is really interesting, and I maybe didn't appreciate on the first watch as much. Chase Infinity is basically our age. She's like 25, 26. In the film, she's playing younger. She's playing a high school student, but like we are in this younger generation of the characters of this movie, and this is very much a generational movie. It's about parents and kids and the things that get passed on, and how like revolutions and change, like a lot of this happens over time. And it's, even all the way to the ending of the movie, it's about being hopeful and about, what can your children, what can the future pass on to you? And so for us, like watching this, we are more in that younger generation. Do you feel like you were relating to like the Chase Infinity characters more than the Leo? Because also we're kind of a Leo a little bit.
I mean, Leo's on screen. It's hard not to relate to him, but I think 100%. Yeah, my eyes were kind of through her character going throughout. Because, I mean, Leo, he really is, like I said, he's in full dad mode. So he's kind of completely out of the game. I think, again, one of the funnier scenes is him trying to communicate with, the new age of the revolution. And, he's not up to date on the codes, obviously, but
phone stuff from Leo we have not seen since The Wolf of Wall Street. It's really top tier.
I think it's awesome for him. Some of his best comedic moments for sure. But yeah, I mean, again, like Chase Infinity, just like the fact that, I mean, this is her introducing role. I don't know if it said introducing in the credits.
They didn't. They should have had it. I had some title issues with this. I think the title screen drop is a little weird. And then, no introducing credit. What are we doing?
Yeah, that is true. I didn't like the title drop either at all. And also, yeah, the girl who's in Mystic Pizza, like she's not even in this movie really. So shout out to her, but she got like the
she's
title
busy
drop
touring
moment.
the world with her sisters in the band Haim. Cody,
I didn't know that, to be fair, but I think she's a great actress. I do think she should keep working with PTA and get on some other directors' radars as well. But yeah, I agree. Mid title drop for sure.
But it is cool. Like it's, again, referencing Eddington, which I think is a very interesting movie to watch in context with this and think about. Like that movie is almost disdainful of the youth a little bit. Like it's kind of like Ari Aster, who's a millennial, kind of being like, man, these Gen Z kids, fuck them. Like, they're trying, but they're kind of fucking idiots. And this movie isn't disdainful of the youth at all. Like it's got its jokes. There's the thing about the pronouns and Leo not being able to understand that, and whatever. And like there's the interrogation scene with good stuff. But like it is not at all like a movie about like the youth, kids these days have it wrong. And like obviously PTA, he's like, a 50-year-old man. Like he very easily could have fallen into that. But I think it's very interesting that this is a movie that's like children are our future.
No, I echo that completely. And yeah, I mean, he's a man of the people, I guess. He's in touch, but I do think it is really cool. Again, like he even had a movie for this generation, for our generation, which is just kind of a unique experience with his, filmography altogether. So he is kind of branching out, but like you said, I think he knows kind of exactly, what he's doing, which is really cool.
And obviously there's been a lot made throughout PTA's career, the fact that he's not really worked with a lot of Black actors or actresses. And this is a movie in a certain sort of way that is kind of in response to that, or at least the way that he is able to make a film like that and tell those stories in that perspective. Here we are, two white guys sitting on the podcast talking about this, right? But like this is a movie about how Leo is, as the main character, is the white figure in this film, who isn't this basically the only one who isn't a white supremacist. Like he doesn't actually care that much about the revolution that's happening, or this revolution, or at least he definitely doesn't care now. Like this is a movie about how like white guys and white men will like put themselves at the forefront of things or co-opt like real revolutions, real change that's trying to happen. And then at the end of the day, like it doesn't really matter that much to them, or it's not life or death for them because they have all this privilege and they're able to kind of just continue to go about their lives. And then also obviously there's this stuff about like the fetishization of Black women in media and culture, and like that's what Sean Penn's character is about. It's also what Leo's character is about. PTA is a man who is married to a Black woman, Maya Rudolph, of course we all know. He has biracial children. Like there's a lot of interesting ideas and things from his own life, from the real world, that are going into this. And I think this is a movie that has a lot beneath the surface that it's trying to reckon with. And there's even like that personal stuff of not doing too much. Like me and you, like we can talk here and we can tell our feelings and fight for, good truth and righteousness and whatever, but like we're not revolutionaries, right? Like even though we want to have positive politics, like we're not really doing as much to go out there and actually execute. And there are people who do.
100%. And I think that's another thing too, is like a lot of people can, just maybe live vicariously through this. I think I definitely do a little bit. Because it is super difficult to actually kind of go out there and, fight these battles. And like you said, there are people that, do kind of live this daily. And, I think myself, I take that for granted a little bit. So definitely shed some light on, a lot of positive things, but, a ton of negatives in society. It has a lot to say, like you said. And I think it's a movie that the diver you deep, into the psyche of the director.
The diver you deep.
the deeper you dive, into the psyche of the director, and even like the psyche of the characters. Like I think this movie has multiple dimensional characters, which it gives kind of time to do that, but I think it is really effective, while also being an action movie, which is a fun combo.
Couple last things to shout out. Got to give love to my boy Bluto.
Great name.
If you know, you know.
Name of the movie for sure. Just a random Bluto.
And then, of course, did you catch, the famous, the Conan clip, the Jeffrey Epstein, the financier, that guy, Jim Downey, who is a former SNL writer, he's in this movie. He plays a Christmas adventurer. Did you notice that?
I did not.
I believe he's the guy who delivers the iconic haters, lunatics, and punk trash line. So okay. All around good stuff there.
That's a deep. Might have to fact check that one, but if it's true, that's dope.
Listen, it's called One Battle After Another. It's about, moving on, the next battle, one thing at a time. It ends very hopefully. It's going to be interesting to see the continued response to this movie. Oscar chances, what do you think? Is this the future Best Picture winner?
I don't know if I personally would go that far. It's definitely not my favorite movie of the year, I'd say. Obviously, I have no vote, so it doesn't really matter. But I think it's going to get a lot of noms for sure. I would be very surprised if there were not a lot of technicals incoming. I think at least one supporting actress I would hope would get a nom, if not both. But yeah, PTA Best Director I think would have a case pretty easily. I'll say this, I think the movie right now in Rotten Tomatoes is at 95% or something insane. I don't think it's that good. Like I said, I think I'm a little bit lower than some people on this. But I mean, it's a damn good movie, and it should get a lot of noms. Again, who knows with the Academy? But are you giving this Best Picture right now?
It is not my favorite movie. I still prefer Sinners. Also, a movie that I think has some flaws, and especially as an action movie and its action filmmaking, it's pretty lacking, and that's its biggest weakness. But the narrative and the storyline is there for One Battle After Another. The whole it's time thing for PTA, this is his time, I think.
He's never won Best Director?
No, never won Best Picture, never won Best Director. Been nominated a couple times.
Maybe give it to him then, honestly. Screw it. I thought he won for There Will Be Blood. That's crazy.
I mean, that was the real travesty. Did not go well. No Country for Old Men.
Oh, that's right. I mean, that's a brutal year.
The only things that There Will Be Blood won were cinematography and actor.
Yeah,
of course. So
cinematography definitely deserved as well. But yeah, I mean, screw it. Give PTA Best Director. Give him Best Picture. I mean, might as well. What else is going to win at this point? We'll make our predictions soon, but who knows?
Stay tuned for next episode. There is the money aspect that I think could hurt it. And I know we said it had a successful opening weekend, but this movie, had a budget of $175 million. And I am not going to pocket watch, but people out there are. And I think there can be a little bit of a thing where if a movie gets labeled as a flop, at least didn't make back its budget, that can be a negative. This movie's made $66 million worldwide. obviously Anora won Best Picture last year, and that thing barely cracked, I think, 30 million before that, right? It was a true indie film. But there is a world where I think the box office of this could hurt it.
I would hope not. There's been, I feel like, bombs before that, have been really good movies, like you had said, with even a very recent example with Nora. But yeah, and again, it just has a budget of, 170 million. So it's going to be difficult to make that back one way or another. Even if you're a Marvel movie, sometimes that might be difficult. So I don't know. I don't think it should play too much into it. Again, with the Academy, who knows? But I don't think that should really affect voters on, if it should be nominated for awards just based off box office. I think that's pretty dumb.
I think to me, it can make the difference. It can be when it's like, okay, it comes down between Sinners and One Battle After Another. Sinners was a true hit. It made.
I don't think they'll give Sinners Best Picture. I don't think so.
I don't listen. I don't know either because of the international body of the Academy, the fact that it was so early in the year, the fact that it's a genre film. Like, there are a lot of things working against Sinners, sure. But if we're just going to say, like, to me, those are the two best movies that have come out so far that I've seen. Obviously, there's other things out there like Sentimental Value or Hamnet that people are maybe eyeing as potential, 2-3 spots in the Best Picture race. But like, when you're comparing apples to oranges, One Battle to Sinners was, at the end of the day, a phenomenon, and a lot of people came out and saw it, especially in America. One Battle After Another, like, even with Leo, like, the average Joe isn't seeing this movie, and that can make a little bit.
It made, how much did it make opening weekend? Like 50 mil? It's hard to judge too, because it's so recent.
It is not going to make $100 million domestically. I'm going to say that right now. It's not going to crack 100 million domestically.
I think that's fine though. I think this is a movie where you 100%
fine for Warner Brothers, the company, because they had Minecraft that made $1 billion, and they had, Final Destination, which was the highest grossing horror movie of the year and made more than any, like, they've had a super successful year.
Weapons. I think they haven't missed low key for like
Weapons
6 months.
Another one.
They had an insane run for a while there. And quality, it's still going on, I think, but I would also say, hot take, I don't know if this is a hot take, but Weapons is definitely better than one Battle After Another. So I'll throw out that as well. But I'd give Weapons Best Picture over Sinners as well, personally.
We're talking about my 3 favorite movies of the year, Cody. It's a great, hey, movies are back. What could I say? I love Weapons too.
Do you think Weapons will get nominated for Best Picture? I don't think it will, but it should.
I don't think so.
No.
There's a world, not to again spoil our game next week. We're gonna have a lot of these conversations, but there's a world where it gets a screenplay nomination. There's a world where maybe it gets a supporting actress nomination if they really campaigned for Amy Madigan. But like, that movie, Sinners, isn't really a horror movie. Like, it's genre, but like, it's not a horror movie. Weapons is, to me, like, more of a horror film and is gonna have a much larger. It has more to overcome.
Yeah. It is a straight up horror movie, I think, and Sinners is definitely a genre blend, I would say, more than direct horror.
And Coogler's got the Oscar pedigree. Like, that's the thing. At least, like, Coogler's been nominated for Best Picture before a couple times. He knows what he's
gonna get another one. Yeah, he's
100% gonna get another one.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, Zach Krager's still kind of making a name for himself in the industry for sure.
He'll get there one day.
You know what name we haven't said yet today, Cody? Regina Hall.
That's true. That's our connection.
What did you think about her in One Battle After Another?
I thought she was fine. I do like that, she's in these big dramatic roles now. I think it's a really fun turn for her career. And she's not a bad actress. Like, she doesn't stand out being bad, even though, she comes from, scary movie franchise. So she's not in a ton, a little bit forgettable character, I would say. And, I think that's what the movie, is going for with her. But I still thought she was good.
I was very surprised by the type of character that she was playing, especially because we've talked about, like, this is a funny movie, has a lot of great lines. None of them are the Regina Hall lines, and that's nothing against her because she's playing like such a reserved character, and she has some pretty emotional moments throughout the film. I think her performance is solid, but it is just one where it feels a little bit more in the background, which I think is a cool thing for her. She's like, I want to work with Paul Thomas Anderson. I want to be in a movie like this, and deliver something that is very dramatic. It feels very different than, anything I'd really seen her in prior to this.
100% goes against type, which I think is always fun for actors. But also, too, I mean, who's going to say no just to being in a PTA movie? Even if you like, she still has good scenes, like you said. I feel like she has one really good one with Chase Infinity that is pretty emotional and hits the heartstrings. And then she has some action stuff too at the beginning. So like, she has stuff to do. She's just not like in the forefront. So heck, I mean, I don't think anybody's saying no really to that offer in Hollywood these days.
The trio of her, Tiana Taylor, and Chase Infinity all doing press together it's fun to see as well. So for that reason, it all, like, she's gonna be able to market the movie off screen as well. But it is interesting getting to watch Scary Movie in the context of this. So let's get into things. Welcome back to Kody and Korbin Have a Podcast. I'm your host, Korbin Zvokel, and of course, I'm joined by Kody Webb.
Y'all want drama, want to make a scary movie. Rappers coming in with their team and carry toolies. You can jump right out of the screen and barely move me. Be hard-hitting, directing and starring in it.
It's spooky season, baby. It is officially October. It's officially Carpentober.
A little chill in the air, a little spook in the air.
We're feeling scary, man. I'm pumped to be back and doing a wacky one today. So it should be a lot of fun.
We were trying to find the connection. What were we going to pair with One Battle? Would it be a Leo movie? Because we haven't talked about that guy ever on the podcast. Would it be another PTA movie? I kind of nixed that they're pretty dense. Like, I feel like you kind of got to sit with them for a while. And I wanted to go for something a little lighter to pair with One Battle. And this is definitely lighter. What was your relationship to Scary Movie, Kody?
I think this is my first full watch, honestly. I've definitely seen clips. Like, I feel like the Thrown Stairs clip, I've seen that a few times. That's like an iconic GIF, I think, maybe. But I've never really seen, this movie all the way through. I haven't seen any other of the movies in this franchise. So it was a fun experience for me because I do like spoof movies in general. If you've listened to us before, I've had the praises of Spaceballs, I think, a few times on this podcast. One of my childhood movies that I really love. And I'm a big comedy fan as well. So, there's tons of horror comedies that I'm definitely a big fan of kind of growing up and even getting into movies more. So I feel like this is a movie kind of made for me. That being said, it's not my favorite or the best of the genre, but I think it does do a lot of things for the genre, which is cool. What's your relationship with this? Did you watch it a bunch of times previously?
I had no relationship to this film.
Nice.
And it's that thing that we talked about where neither of us were huge horror people growing up. And I also wasn't like, I never watched rated R movies or like comedies. So it's like, I'm not going to watch the horror movies and then I'm not going to watch the comedy movie that's parodying the, like, there was never a time that I ever had interest in this. And even though, I saw Scream for the first time like 3 or 4 years ago and loved it so much, there was never really any like part of me that was like, I need to go check out Scary Movie. The parody genre isn't really as much for me. I've never even seen Spaceballs, Kody. I'm going to be entirely honest.
Oh
with
my
you.
goodness. That's a revelation.
So just like, it's not as much my wheelhouse. And then I watched it 2 days ago and it put me to sleep. I fell asleep watching it. I had to, restart it a little bit later. It's not necessarily my thing.
Yeah, that was really funny. And I mean, echoing what you're saying about, the Scream movies too. I was similar kind of growing up, not big into horror. And then I watched the Scream movies, somewhat recently. And I really, really enjoy that franchise. It's one of my favorite horror franchises for sure. So I feel like it is like this movie is a little bit tailor-made for me, maybe not so much for you.
But of course that gets into like your review of like, I like Scream, but
right.
I feel like this movie, this isn't Scream.
It's close though. So it's pretty close just because like, I mean, other than obviously the other ripoffs they're doing, the I Know What You Did Last Summer. There's a big bit about that. But I mean, the opening is Scream, with Carmen Electra, excuse me. Shout out to Dennis Rodman. Then like the first act of the movie, they're just redoing Scream almost shot for shot. So I think like that meta banter of like, oh, I've seen Scream, and now they're just kind of doing like a play. It's like a high school play about Scream. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny when they're referencing stuff exactly from the movie, but like all the other spoof stuff, other than the Scream references, I think is definitely the negative side of this movie.
I've got a whole list of it. We'll go through it later, but we'll save that.
Okay.
But the interesting thing is that Scream is in itself already self-referential and almost a little bit parody,
Yeah.
right? So when you take it that extra step further with Scary Movie, you just start to like it's trying too hard. This also has that like we don't get comedy movies like this anymore. We talk about that, but like literally this is a joke a sec. Like there are on-screen gags, there are innuendos, turns of phrase. There's just like constant jokes that it's throwing at you over and over and over. And it's like you don't even really have the chance sometimes to laugh at one thing before the next comes at you or get that they're referencing this. And then at the end of the day, most of it I don't really find funny at all. So it's just like it becomes super tiresome. It's why it put me to sleep, because it's like I'm trying to contend with the plot of this and the fact that there is, supposedly a murder on the loose, and I'm trying to figure out who did it. And also, like, there's a million things that you're throwing at me. Yeah. It's hard to analyze it all. This is going to be a tough conversation to really get into the weeds of, it's a big movie.
It's references on references while also being meta, while also like remaking another movie, while also throwing every, horror trope and any other movie trope it wants to in there as well. So it's definitely a B movie, I think. Just from also like the actors, I don't think are great. I'll shout out Anna Faris even straight off the bat here. Like me personally, I have always thought like she's just not a very good actress. But that kind of works for a movie like this because, like you were saying, like the characters, their lines have to be such dry humor the entire time because every single line is a joke. So I think, they definitely play into that. Some of the actors as well. Doofy, I guess we can mention early too. Not a big fan of him, if I'm being honest.
It's tough,
but it's a good twist, I guess. He fits the Spacey train, I guess, of that
You're
role.
a big Usual Suspects guy.
Yeah. Not really. But Anna Faris, I mean, shout out her Matrix moment. Like I do think like she is good casting for this movie because she's a bad actress, if that makes sense.
Her with dark hair was really throwing me off. I was like, who the fuck is that? And I was like, wait, that's Anna Faris? That's very strange. We could just run through real quick these people. So Anna Faris plays Cindy Campbell, is her character's name, which is obviously based on both Sidney Prescott and then also Jennifer Love Hewitt's Julie James from I Know What You Did Last Summer. It really is those two movies, which I have not seen. I Know What You Did Last Summer. Have you?
I have not seen that as well. Yeah.
Apologies to the audience. Obviously, there was a Lego sequel that came out earlier this year, which I heard was quite poor.
Madam Klein. Yeah, shout out.
Yeah.
So yeah. With Sidney Campbell, isn't it Nev Campbell? Is Sidney Prescott? Is
right. So that's a lot of that's happening. The next one is John Abrahams plays Bobby Prince, which is Billy Loomis, played by Skeet Ulrich, and Ray Bronson, played by Freddie Prinze Jr. From I Know What You Did Last Summer. And then you also have Shannon Elizabeth plays Buffy Gilmore, who is Helen Shivers, played by Sarah Michelle Gellar, who played Buffy and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And she's also kind of the Rose McGowan character from Scream. You have the Wayans brothers, of course, who wrote the script for this film. We have another Wayans directing, so we'll talk more Wayans in a second. But Marlon Wayans plays Shorty Meeks, who's Randy Meeks from Scream. Sean Wayans plays Ray Wilkins, who's a mix between Stu Macher and Phil Stevens, Omar Epps on Scream 2, which of course is your background, so you get a little bit of that. But the movie scene from Scream 2 is included in Scary Movie.
Yes.
Regina Hall plays Brenda Meeks, which is a mix of Carla Wilson from I Know What You Did Last Summer and Maureen Evans, which is, of course, Jada Pinkett Smith from Scream 2. And that's the main cast. And then, of course, you've got Dave Sheridan, who's playing Doofy, which is their Dewey ripoff. But not my vibe.
No, I think definitely dated 100%. And one of my least favorite parts, talking about Scream 2 as well, I think that's probably another one of my favorite meta things that it does. It kind of brings together Scream 1 and Scream 2 by having that movie scene, which might be my favorite scene in the movie, if I'm being honest. Just for another dumb joke of they're watching Shakespeare in Love. Like, that's so random, but I do think that's really, really
Well,
funny.
it was shot in 1999. What kind of movies were coming out?
Yeah.
Best Picture winner.
But it's like perfect too with the gag of, obviously she's yelling out the entire time and making everybody mad. And it's such a good movie for that. If she's going like, that's not a guy when Gwyneth Paltrow is, pretending to be a guy and acting and stuff. Like, it's just stupid lines like that, like dumb comedy. When this movie does it well, I think it's not terrible. But then you get to the other dumb roles and it's like the crazy meathead guy where he's just like beaten up. Anna Faris, for some reason. I thought like he was the killer, which I guess he's not. But again, it goes back to the other Scream references of course the boyfriend's the killer, and I feel like it makes it super obvious too. Like, he's laughing at stuff the entire time, and even at the beginning, the remaking of the Scream scene where the boyfriend shows up after Ghostface is in the house. Like, it's completely obvious it's him the entire time. So I guess just the fourth wall breaks, and then the meta-ness of bringing both those Scream movies together, is probably my favorite part.
Yeah, I respect that. Something that I think is really interesting. What do you think made more money, Scream or Scary Movie?
Oh, wow. It's a good question. I would hope Scream. But I would think this movie would make decent money for the time it came out. And
obviously it's 4 years later, so it's kind of, coming on the coattails of Scream.
It's a good comedy time, I feel like, box office wise. I would say Scream doubled the box office, hopefully, but I have no idea.
Scream made $173 million worldwide in 1996. Scary Movie made $278 million worldwide. It almost grossed just as much domestically as Scream did overall, which is crazy to see. As we said, this movie is directed by Keenan Wayans. This was the highest grossing film directed by an African American at the time. And do you know what film passed it? It was 2005. It was a Fox picture, a superhero film.
I feel like it should be obvious. 2005.
Recently,
Spider-Man, X-Men,
rebooted.
Hellboy.
Rebooted just this year.
Daredevil. What else was it mid-2000s? I don't know. What is it? Oh, Spawn? No.
Kody,
I don't know.
We just got a new one this year. They were taking their first steps.
Fantastic Four?
Yes, sir. Tim Story's Fantastic Four.
Ooh, I didn't know Tim Story was African American. Shut up.
But then, of course, those records have been long since broken.
I don't know who Tim Story is, I guess, to be fair. But
well, he did make the Fantastic Four. So
he did Fantastic
Not
Four.
much reason.
Did he do Rise of Silver Surfer? No.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he's not a very good filmmaker, but
Ride Along too. He directed Shaft, actually. The new Shaft, the 2019
I haven't seen
Shaft,
that either.
And the Tom and Jerry live action film from 2021.
Ooh, you didn't like that.
Oh, he did direct The Blackening, which is an interesting film. I didn't love it, but it's in conversation with this. It's a parody horror film, but also just kind of, focused on Black people and the ways they are treated in horror films.
Like in Scream 2. Yeah, they get
like in Scream
killed
2,
off in the first scene for no reason.
Like in Scary Movie.
Well, shout out to him. Maybe we should do another of his movies.
A whole Tim Story retrospective. Going on a Tim story. What is your relationship to the Wayans family? I think I might know because it's mine, and it comes in the form of a new girl.
Yeah, I would say, that's a massive influence for me. I wasn't as big watching New Girl until I met you, honestly. So it's definitely more of your thing,
White Chicks. Like,
I was gonna say,
did you watch Wayne Brothers ever? Like, I don't know.
I haven't. I feel like, and they made a reference in here too of like, oh, our show got canceled. Didn't even get to have a last show or finale, which was I thought a pretty funny moment, actually, super meta. But I like White Chicks a lot. Seen that a ton growing up. So that would be my connection to them. Maybe I should go back and watch the show because, like, this movie's not bad. I feel like their stuff specifically, even just like the weed comedy, I think it's pretty funny. Just in that,
I do like scene when the guy gets shot and there's smoke coming out of the bullet holes.
That's a good gag. I like it too in the when it's the I know what you did last summer moment. And a car pulls up and it's just him just hotboxing his car. Like, I think that's a funny gag. So maybe their show is more of that, I would think, and maybe you should check that out. But what was your connection to them? Not a ton, really, like you said.
Really, Requiem for a Dream was really the only time I'd seen Marlon Wayans, which is just like
Yeah.
pretty drastically different
Oh
from
yeah.
the rest of his career. But like, I've always had a ton of respect for him as an actor for that reason. And then, of course, I did recently see the film Him, which I think he's good in. Like, he's a
Okay.
highlight for me. The movie's just so fucking stupid, and like the third act is so bad. Julia Fox is there and is like
Oh really?
awful and
I didn't know she's
annoying.
acting
It's like
anymore.
it's like uncut Joms for 30 minutes, just over and over and over. She has like the craziest. I don't know if it's a wig or a bad dye job. She looks insane. I think her eyebrows are dyed as well.
Huh.
It's
I think she hasn't
scary.
been in any of the promotional material, so I didn't even know she's in it. But
I did not know until I was seated in the theater watching the film, and I was like, "Is that fucking Julia Fox? That's really weird."
Julia Fox jump
Uncut
scare.
Joms.
All got jobs.
That was probably the scariest thing. All love and
Tough.
respect to our Joms queen. That, him, and then of course, like I said, Damon Wayans Jr., who's of course not in this movie, but just a part of their family,
Right.
in New Girl, playing coach. Otherwise, not a ton. I didn't watch White Chicks until like 4 years ago, maybe on the 4th of July, with some of
Pretty
our
random.
from our Purdue friends, Connor, Keith, those guys in a
Gotta
real
watch that.
squad.
It's a weird choice for 4th of July.
It was, I think it was maybe the 5th of July we watched it. It was like,
okay.
it was weirdly just like on the next day. I don't know if it was on TV, but I had never seen it. And
It's got a great song.
I did not watch from start to finish, but I caught most of it.
It's decent.
Terry
I mean,
Crews,
yeah, I think he's great, and I think the brothers are really funny in that as well, and definitely of its time, I would say. But yeah, I mean, a banging Vanessa Carlton song as well, made iconic from that movie. So I'm a fan.
I think this is a fine enough entrance to them officially as a duo for sure. And
I think they're the standouts, I would say, out of the cast for me in
I
this
agree.
movie.
I don't love the stuff that happens in the bathroom stall.
I mean, that's very fair. I mean,
I'm also a little confused because like it seems like a penis goes through his brain, and yet somehow
That is
he's
what
still
happened.
alive. I feel like you die.
Wait, did he survive that?
Yeah, because he shows up at the end because he's one of the killers.
Oh, that's right. Was that okay?
That's
'Cause
after the fact. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, that does make sense because yeah, he's the guy who at the end he's saying, he's not gay, and he's been doing all this stuff the entire movie, obviously. He's in the glory hole. That's how he gets his
Yeah,
head
no problem with the glory hole, but I
impaled.
think going through the
Um,
brain is tough. Like straight through the ear is not ideal.
Oh yeah, I mean you don't survive that either. So that is interesting, the logistics of that for sure. Of maybe it's his ghost that shows up at the end. Because also too, like he doesn't get stabbed; he just does the stabbing. So maybe it's another I see dead people. Maybe they just went all the way and nobody realized it till now. But yeah, and that's the thing with this movie too. Like plot wise, it is hard to keep up with. It's kind of like you said of you do have to stay on your toes at all times. But there's no real kind of like through line of the story, if we're being honest. It's obviously replaying Scream, but then it's throwing every single reference they can think of, on top of each other.
It's got that like skit, like comedy show, improv show energy where it's like a scene might happen, but that doesn't necessarily like mean the next scene might be totally unrelated. Like there isn't a lot of
Oh,
continuity
100%.
necessarily for the characters.
That is the movie. I mean, because it does go back and forth, like when it deviates off and does
It's
its
got
own
like
joke.
cartoon show logic a little bit.
And cartoon show humor. I mean, the "what's up" moments we haven't talked about.
Shout out
yet,
to The
but-
Office.
I mean, that's become iconic as well. I think that's maybe the most quotable line from this movie, and obviously that has nothing to do with Scream. So maybe if they did kind of more of just like dumb skit stuff of them just trying to be funny, it would be a better movie altogether. But I think the references when we get to the very end as well, just like the ending with the Matrix finale, which I dislike, and then also the Usual Suspects finale, on top of it. I dislike both of those a lot. So I don't think it sticks the landing and doesn't really have a story, I guess, to stick with.
Right, because then it decides that it's gonna do the doofy is not actually disabled reveal, which is tough for sure.
Well, yeah, and again, it doesn't really make any sense. So has he been, one of the Ghostface the entire time? I don't know.
I mean, yeah, apparently
they don't know either, if we're being honest. But yeah, I hate that reveal, and I don't like the character throughout too. I mean, that is definitely my least favorite character. He doesn't do anything other than slobber the entire movie and just be offensive. So not great.
We haven't talked about Gale Hailstorm at all, who of course is the Gale Weathers Courtney Cox parody. Honestly, like I feel like her stuff for me was the stuff that was working the best. I do like the Blair Witch Project bit when she's like running through the woods and that gets stuck up on her face.
There's a funny camera trick I feel like with that, but I feel like she's very, very forgettable, if I'm being honest. And then another person we haven't mentioned as well is it took me 45 minutes to realize the sheriff character he's the doctor guy from Psych, whatever that his position is called. He deals with the dead bodies. So I was like, oh, because I was like, I know that guy the entire movie.
Fuller.
Finally clicked. Woody, right? Is that his name?
Yes, I think he plays Woody in
shout out Psych, great show. But it was cool to see him because he doesn't pop up in a ton of stuff. So I feel like for some more low-key kind of comedic actors, they got kind of a big shot that obviously a ton of people saw, evidently. So I think the cast is solid, but I don't know. I feel like the Gale ripoff wasn't very good, honestly, in my opinion.
Sticking with Doofy, some more problematic stuff. I think all the stuff with like the gym teacher is another thing that just like really doesn't age well. Kind of like that transvestigation, trans athlete stuff. You've got like the balls hanging out and all that stuff. Like it's just stupid. It's dumb. Here we are, 25 years later, people are still dumb about that kind of shit, but I don't know.
Yeah, still relevant. But yeah, the balls falling out is maybe the grossest moment in the movie. So not a big fan of that either, I would say.
Let's go through the list of all the things, all the references and parodies here, Kody, and see if you caught them.
I mean, there's so many.
Of course, Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer are the major ones. Then The Exorcist is referenced when Cindy mentions that she pukes green slime while masturbating with a crucifix at her first keg party.
Yeah, that's true. It's a throwaway line, but that's a solid one.
Big KHAP film of ours, The Exorcist. Go listen to that episode.
Good flick.
Kazam is referenced to Force by Carmen Electra at the beginning of the film.
That's actually a good one. That's one of the better references, I would say. Shout out Shaq.
The film Election is referenced by Heather passing out election flyers in the skull. I guess.
All right.
The Shining, you hear
red rum.
Say red rum before you
That's a dope reference, actually. If they did more stuff like that, I'd like this movie a lot more.
We mentioned the Blair Witch Project where Ghostface is chasing her into the woods. Shakespeare in Love, you said, but of course, did you catch the trailer that played before Shakespeare in Love?
Ooh, I don't know if I did. What was it?
Amistad 2.
Oh, yes, that's true.
Which, of course, then also like references Titanic within that because they do like I'm a king of the world thing.
King of the world, yeah.
And that's Keenan Wayans in that scene. So shout out to him for
that's cool.
Popping in. The little director cameo. We love those. American Pie. There's the stuff. There's the weird sex scene, which I guess is the same as Michelle and Jim in American Pie. That is like one of the weirdest sex scenes ever. Just like brutal stuff getting through. Like bats come out of her underwear, and then there's like the giant bush that he has to shave. And there's like the Tootsie Pop thing. Like all of it, it's terrifying. That is probably the scariest stuff in this movie.
That's true. Not a great scene.
The Sixth Sense, of course. I See Dead People.
And that one's really random too, because it's just like he's actually making a joke about the movie. Like it's that double meta-ness. If he says the line and you're like, wait, what? And then he's like, oh, it's a joke about the movie. You're like, oh, well, I'm watching another movie, so fair enough, but strange.
The Usual Suspects we've talked about. The Matrix, of course. There's also a little bit of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon vibes in that scene.
For sure. The real like when it's pausing on her and kind of rotating. I think that's
that flying around, that wuxia, kind of fighting style, all that stuff. Halloween, when they throw Ghostface through the window and then he disappears, it's like Michael Myers disappearing. And then of course they also reference I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, where they talk about the fat white Jamaican kid, which I guess is Jack Black. I'm again not
Oh.
seeing that movie, but
Yeah, I didn't get that reference, but I'm sure if we saw it, that would be another solid one.
that would be just a fucking bang. I'd be slapping my knee.
That'd be plus.
But yeah, you know, a lot of references. I like movies.
Yeah, I like references and I like movies, but you know, maybe it's a little bit of overkill. And I think that, you know, the scene that shows that the most too is that chasing up the staircase scene, which is another Scream reference. But I think it's funny to a point. You know, throwing the grandma at her, I think, you know, that's kind of funny. But then you get like the grandma getting hit by the tool shed or whatever, or the piano that she throws down. I think that's a little bit overkill. And I think that is kind of telling of the entire movie of like, they don't know when to stop or they don't know when it's funny. So they're just going to kind of keep pumping out, like you said, as many jokes as they can per minute until one hits, which again, I think, you know, the deeper we dive into some of these references, you know, they are kind of funny. But when they throw 5 at you within 10 seconds, I think it's hard to process. And I don't think it's funny. So I think it is more just like execution versus script, because script I think is not terrible, but putting it all together I was just not a fan of.
Yeah, and it's definitely a movie where it's like there was a ton of other writers and other people who were like throwing in jokes and adding in stuff, and sometimes that doesn't work. Something that I always bring up and say is like, if you're going to reference something or you're going to like call attention to another movie, don't make me think about a movie that's better than your movie. Don't make me be like, man, I wish I was watching The Matrix. I wish, because that's a better thing. I wish I was just watching Scream. When it's like you're shouting out Kazam, that's good, because Kazam kind of fucking sucks, right? Like, it's like when it's, you know, The Matrix or it's Scream or The Exorcist, it's like, yeah, I'd rather just fucking be doing that than this shit.
And it's weird too, like you said, like the genres of this movie and Scream, like they're razor thin of being like super similar, I feel like. But you just have like the over the topness of this movie that takes it to another level of, you know, obviously being an entire spoof. So like it has aspects that are there, but like you said, I would definitely just rather watch Scream than this movie. So maybe it is a thing where like the deeper or the more movies kind of they make with this franchise, maybe it does get a little bit better. I don't know if they do the same thing in the next one of just, you know, copy an entire movie blatantly like they do with Scream.
There's a lot of Ring stuff I know in the next one,
Yeah.
because we mentioned that in our.
We did.
I don't know if there's a lot of Ring stuff, but there's a
Some
whole
stuff.
extended Ring sequence, because we talked about that on the Ring episode, of course.
Yeah, so I do kind of want to watch that, but I mean, yeah, for kind of the copy and paste that they did for the Scream script in this one specifically, it's a fun watch. It's a fun, like I said, I mean, it feels like a high school kind of play of like riffing on the movie Scream, which like that would be enjoyable for a watch, I think. But you know, something that stands the test of time and is as rewatchable and as fun and as good as Scream. It's hard to kind of make a movie that pairs up with that when that's your competition, and obviously this is going to be a worse version of it just because of what it is.
Does it make you like it any less when you think about the fact that Miramax, the film company, which of course is owned by Harvey Weinstein, we don't have to get into that, but Miramax produces Scream, also produces this film. Like, it's the same company parodying themselves.
I kind of like that, actually.
Okay.
Just because they can make fun of themselves, but they're definitely doing it for money reasons. So kind of smart. They're, I guess, even being more meta with that. I didn't realize it was the same studio, but yeah, it kind of makes me have a respect. At least they can laugh at themselves, I guess, which is a positive.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that, of course, it's Harvey Weinstein who was getting all that
right.
money. Yeah.
Don't love him. But
hey,
clearly,
go watch Scream 3, because that's what that's about, right?
Yeah, I mean, his name is in the credits of a lot of those Scream movies as well. So unfortunate for sure.
Another funny credit on this film: Peter Safran, who is now, you know, co-head of DC with James Gunn, was an executive producer on this film. So just back in the early days of his career, doing whatever.
Good for him. I mean, it was a big box office hit, so it probably helped his career out. But that is funny. I mean, Gunn's a big comedy guy too. I mean, that is cool. They both kind of come.
I mean, yeah, he was a horror comedy guy. He came up in the, you know, the trauma
deep comedy
trenches.
roots. Yeah, which I think fits for the DCU. You know, none of this Snyderverse anymore. Yeah, give us funny stuff, man. That's what I want to watch.
Thanks for listening to the episode. You can follow the rest of our happenings over here at Kody and Korbin Have a Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at KHAP Podcasts, KHAPODCAST. Please follow us on Spotify, give us a rating, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow along for more.
This film's tagline is "No mercy, no shame, no sequel."
Pretty sure they made like 7 sequels, didn't they? And another one's coming out next year.
I think officially they've made 5 scary movies, right? And
Either
6 is supposed to come out. They want
Yeah,
6.
it's either 6 or
6
7
is the
come
next
out.
one. Yeah.
Okay.
They have not made one since 2013, but
Okay.
they
I
definitely
think Charlie
lied in the
Sheen
tagline.
was in that one. Yeah. So I think the franchise, it's been derailed a good deal. I believe the director came back for the second one as well. So I think that one was decent-ish. And like we had said, I mean, there was some iconic Ring stuff in it that we talked about before. But past that, I think it definitely got, franchise fatigue and
Well, you
I'm
know
not
who
sure where they
directs
went.
Scary Movie 3, which is weird because it should be good.
Zack Snyder.
No, Scary Movie 3 and 4 are directed by David Zucker, who wrote and directed
Airplane.
The Naked Gun and Airplane and Basketball. But I guess that's
Interesting.
mid to late 2000s, and
Well, heck, maybe those aren't
lost.
Maybe those aren't terrible. Who directed Scream 5?
Scary Movie 5,
whatever. It's the same
which is
franchise, dude.
starts with Charlie Sheen and Lindsay Lohan, as you said. Was directed by Malcolm D. Lee, who is Spike Lee's cousin.
Oh wow, that's kind of cool, actually.
And has directed hit films such as Space Jam: A New Legacy,
Oh Jesus.
Night School, Girls Trip. Shout out to Regina Hall.
Oh, okay.
He's a big Regina Hall guy.
Yeah.
I guess probably Barbershop, The Next Cut, The Best Man Holiday, Soul Men, Undercover Brother.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was confirmed if Charlie Sheen was coming for this one. I feel like it was for some reason. So should we get caught up for the new movie? I don't know. Like, those sound like decent directors. Zucker in 3 and 4 actually gives me hope. But I don't know if I ever will watch this movie again, to be fair. So we'll see if I watch the rest. But maybe the second one, just because of the director carryover. But who knows?
Yeah, I mean, you can't skip 2 and go straight to 3. So
they said there was never going to be a sequel, so it's probably garbage. But they clearly didn't have any ideas for a sequel.
I think their ideas were
money, and
whatever other movies came out in the year 2000.
I think it was
That's
a Joker.
the weird thing. They're good time capsule movies.
Oh, for sure. I agree with that. But it's just like a Joker scenario where the first one was a massive hit. So, now we have to make it a franchise. I think that was maybe a little bit part of it. But
here is the film that Scary Movie 2 parodies. Are you ready? The Haunting is its main inspiration.
Oh, interesting. I haven't seen it.
I don't even
Maybe
know
I should watch that before.
It's a 1999 film. The Haunting.
Oh, really? Yeah, I don't know what that is. I thought it was a really old movie.
It's a Liam Neeson, Owen Wilson, Catherine Zeta-Jones picture.
Oh my, what a cast. That's a crazy cast. Owen Wilson.
Directed by Jean de Bont, who of course
yeah.
Twister, Speed, big cinematographer guy.
Yeah, good director. Add that to the watch list.
Okay, but yes, that The Haunting is Scary Movie 2, and then a bunch of other shit, of course.
So they do the same thing script-wise, where they just blatantly copy from another movie. I don't know if I like that.
It's Scary Movie 3 is The Ring, is the main.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that's Zucker, so maybe that's not bad.
And then they do some Saw stuff in Scary Movie 4. But most of it's
that
War
kind
of
sounds
the Worlds,
funny too.
Apparently. Yeah, the fourth one is mostly War of the Worlds.
It's pretty random. It's not. I guess it's kind of a scary movie. Is that a horror movie, War of the Worlds? I don't know. I guess kind of.
Tom Cruise was popular, dude. It was 2006. They were trying to do the best they can. And then finally, obviously, Paranormal Activity is the big focus of Scary Movie 5.
Yeah. And
what do you think they'll parody for 6? Like, what's
I don't know. What's the big
scary movie of now?
Yeah,
they could just do. I mean, the thing is. The obvious thing is the fact that it's a reboot, it's a Lego sequel. Like, they'll probably focus on that. So they'll probably hit the I Know What You Did Last Summer. What was that movie called?
I think that's what it was, right?
No, but was it just I Know What You Did Last Summer?
I think it was the same title again, yeah.
Yeah, it was. Okay, so they'll do that. I'm sure they'll probably call Scary Movie 6 just Scary Movie. They probably will use the same title.
Maybe.
Because it's the Scream thing. It's the You know,
I mean, maybe they'll do like superheroes. I don't know. What?
but we already got superhero movie, Kody.
It's like what Spaceballs did with Star Wars, man. You just gotta pick what's popular, and people will go out and see it. Which I think that's all the franchise is trying to do, really. So
Riding that popularity wave.
maybe they're doing a Oppenheimer spoof.
I'll be in the seat for that. A lot of farts. Just I don't know. that wasn't really working for me.
It's the time period. I mean, shout out Paul Blart. I feel like any comedy movie, mid 2000s, early or late 90s, 100% gonna have a lot of that. A lot of horniness in this movie as well. I feel like those two aspects for me were definitely overplayed. I think again, like of its time, it's good time capsule because I think that was like, the really popular comedy at the time. But just doesn't age that much, when it's the same thing over and over and over.
There's a reference to going to a Diddy party early in the film.
Is there?
If only what we knew now.
That's actually impressive reference. Somebody knew too much with that one, but yeah, that's crazy.
One more thing here, Kody. The school name is BA Corpse High School, and they are the Predators as their mascot.
So what's the reference, I guess? That's
BA
the
Corpse.
name. That's
well, I think it's just their high school is
BA Corpse. I get it.
And then they're just the Predators as their mascot.
Why are they the Predators though?
Predators. I don't know, man. I think they're being hunted. I see dead people.
That would have been sick if a Predator showed up. That's the reference we're missing. I mean, if you're gonna have it be the mascot, at least have like a Predator mascot, in like a goofy costume or something.
Maybe that's what they'll parody. Predator Badlands. That'll be the main focus. I could see that.
I'm here for it. Give me any sort of Predator.
Regina Hall will be on the back of somebody for a whole movie, just half of her.
I'll be in the theater for sure.
It is crazy what a hit this was at the time, and especially even in the context of that this in a way was more popular than the thing that it was parodying. But I'm curious what a movie like this would make today. Like, what will the new scary movie, like, will people actually, because there's that thing of comedy movies aren't huge. The Naked Gun really wasn't that successful at the box office. Let's see, what did it make?
But it was good at least.
It was all right. It ended up making 100 mil worldwide, so it crossed that. But
for comedy movies, that's pretty solid, I would say. I don't think Scary Movie, bold take, it's not making over like 10 mil. It's not making anything, I wouldn't think, unless they have a great cast or something like that. But I don't know. The last one probably did decent, I would think, but I don't know who's asking for these movies anymore. If I'm being honest, I think it is really, really. It was kind of a cultural milestone movie, low key. I feel like for the generation before us, I feel like I hear references all the time to this movie, if I'm being honest, which is really random. But
for having not seen it, I would agree. Like it culturally leaked through for sure.
I mean, just a ton of people saw it, which is definitely going to help. And it is quotable in parts, so I think it's all right. But yeah, I mean, I don't know why they made so many sequels, especially with the tagline. But hey, we're getting another one. So if it makes over 10 mil, I'll eat my words. But I would hope not.
Cody, it's time for the 3 mini movie draft, and I'll just say. Him made $22 million. So if him can make 22 mil, I bet Scary Movie. I mean, also will probably make
$10 million is nothing today, anyways. So it'll probably make like 30.
Fucking rich guy over here. $10 million is nothing. Jeez. Today we are drafting horror comedies.
Heck yeah!
Should we spin the wheel?
Let's spin it. I think it's a really fun category. I have a lot of picks, honestly, so I'm excited to hear some of your favorites.
I'm not going to share my screen because that just causes me more editing work, so you're going to have to believe me when I say that the first pick is it was me. It did land on me.
I don't believe it.
Taking a picture. It's real. I am going to take What We Do in the Shadows, #1 overall, which I think is my favorite horror comedy film. It's a movie that if you watch now, having seen kind of the current state of Taika Waititi's career, you can you really appreciate what he once had as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie's so funny. Obviously, it spawned a TV show that I haven't ever watched, but I've heard great things about as well. So many funny bits in this one. I love vampire stuff, so doing vampire comedy is,
Yeah, this was definitely pretty high on my list as well. Like you had said, I had seen, Thor: Love and Thunder before this, so I didn't even know what Taika was capable of. And this is a really fun movie. The mockumentary style on vampires. It's genius, and
it was
I do like
prime
it a lot.
mockumentary time as well.
Oh yeah,
2014.
and prime Taika. I think well, JoJo's probably better, but it's up there with his best work. Okay, so my first pick. I think I'm gonna go with and maybe you could dock this if you don't think this is horror enough, but I'm gonna pick This Is the End, which is a disaster movie, and especially at the very end.
There's an exorcism, so I will
there is an exorcism, and at the end, I mean, hell basically it has become on Earth, and
Hey, if
the
War
devil's
of
there.
the Worlds is a horror movie and can be
We're counting
parodied,
it.
then sure, This Is the End is a horror.
But yeah, I think this movie's awesome. I mean, just alone for the ensemble is pretty insane. Rogan, Hill, McBride, Robinson, Michael Cera there. Michael Cera's there getting slapped by Rihanna. Just, anybody and everybody you would want, in this movie is there. Emma Watson randomly. So I love it. You got the Backstreet Boys at the end, I think, just to bring it home. But one of my favorite comedies of all time. And if it's got horror elements, I want to pick it.
The Exorcism is a good enough scene for me, so I'll take it.
Yeah, and Jonah Hill.
And you're such a huge James Franco guy, so I'll let you have
Yeah,
that
I didn't
one
mention him, if you noticed that, but
good Sarah stuff. Good Michael Cera bits.
oh, he's goated.
Getting smacked by Rihanna. I'm gonna take Shaun of the Dead since you left it there for me. I think this is when I think horror comedy, this is probably like the first thing that comes to my head. It's a movie I watched in one of my early college filmmaking classes. And the direction is just like really impressive. We talked about prime Taika. This might be prime Edgar Wright, like this era of kind of just him and
Simon and Nick.
Him and Simon Pegg and Nick Frost just kind of all working together. The final scene of this where they're in the bar like is actually like really good action filmmaking. And I wouldn't say this movie ever is like scary, but it's a zombie movie, so it counts.
I mean, it's scary emotionally when Nick becomes a zombie. So
people get eaten. That's pretty fucking scary.
That's a great pick. I think both of your picks are probably in my top 3. So kudos to you. But I would say that's it's up there as my favorite from Edgar. Maybe I like Scott Pilgrim a little bit more, but Shaun of the Dead is definitely his peak.
I do prefer Scott Pilgrim, but
both good movies. So hard
excited to see The Running Man hopefully get him back.
I'm excited.
I wasn't a huge Last Night in Soho guy personally, so
I still haven't seen it. Yeah, but yeah, the trailers for Running Man I think look pretty awesome. Really dope cast. Coleman Domingo, great announcer voice. I think that's Coleman Domingo. Shout out to him. Coleman. Okay, with my second pick, I might just go full Carpentober here. Pick one that I've seen only very recently. I'll go Evil Dead 2. What a wacko movie this is, man. It's not even really a direct sequel because they couldn't get the same rights from the studio. So it's technically like a softcore reboot where like the first act, like they're kind of replaying what happens in the first movie. But that's only like 10 minutes of it, and then it completely just goes crazy off the rails. Basically Ash gets affected and he's fighting his hand, he's like punching himself. Just a lot of like weird funny comedic moments in a like a gory horror movie. And then I guess spoiler alert for the ending too, but it has this like crazy sci-fi twist ending that I really really love. There's not a ton of comedic aspects in that. I would say that's mostly kind of early on in the movie, but it's an awesome genre blend. Shout out Raimi. Shout out freaking Bruce Campbell. He's basically the only actor in this movie for the majority of it. So a really fun Carpentober watch. And yeah, I think it is definitely one of the best horror comedies ever made.
It's interesting because I've watched Evil Dead and then I started to watch Evil Dead 2. And I think I only really got about 10 minutes in and I never got to like the switch or the turn. And I need to go back and give it that second shot.
It's
I think the
fun.
first one's all right. The effects are great and it's well directed. I am excited to see more of a comedic spin on that kind of world for sure.
It is very different from the first one. But yeah, I'd highly recommend it. If you only caught the first 10 minutes, you basically just got to the first one again. So you definitely missed out on the fun there.
My third pick, I'm gonna take a movie that I don't really love, but I think would get me some votes if we were actually doing a poll for these.
That's
I'm gonna go
lame.
Gremlins.
Okay.
Shout out to those little motherfuckers. Also a Christmas movie as well. So if we were doing a Christmas horror film draft, we could throw that one in. You go to this movie for the Joe Dante practical effects. Obviously, you know, shout out Small Soldiers and everything with that. You're a big fan.
That's why you picked it. Yeah.
But like the Gremlins are so iconic. Don't feed
rules
them
are
after
fun.
midnight, Cody.
Yeah, don't feed
you
them.
go on Letterboxd after midnight. A gremlin pops up. That's good stuff. I don't know.
I do like that
It's
a lot.
funny.
I'm not gonna lie, when it's like 12:05 and I'm on Letterbox, trying to go to sleep or something, that's pretty dope when the little gremlin pops up. So shout out Letterbox, but I've never seen Gremlins. Which I'm a bit ashamed of. I think actually both of them just got put on Max this month. So I think they are on my watch list. So I'll have to check them out in honor of your love for Small Soldiers. But yeah, fun pick.
My one problem with Gremlins is that it is a Christmas movie, and ostensibly the kids are going to school on Christmas Eve, which I have some questions about. Maybe just kind of, you know, nobody really thought things through there on the filmmaking. They're like, oh, well, you just got to put these scenes next to each other. But they get out of school and then they go home and it's like, oh, tomorrow's Christmas.
Maybe it was a different time in the 80s, man. We don't know how
I
it worked
guess
back then.
they did things in the 80s differently for sure.
That's awesome. Well, maybe I'll have to save it for Christmas then too. If it's a Christmas movie, maybe it's one of the it's the Nightmare Before Christmas thing. It's like you got to watch it in between the middle of the two holidays.
Yeah,
there you go.
November 1st, you can watch Gremlins.
There you go. Okay, Carpenter will be over, so I won't know what to do with my life. So that's a good place to start. My last pick, I'm gonna pick another personal one. I guess similar to you in a sense from that perspective, but I'm gonna pick Cabin in the Woods, which is probably one of the earlier horror movies I ever saw and kind of rewatched obsessively kind of growing up. I think it does just a really fun job of like pointing out the dumb movie tropes with all horror movies, but also kind of giving reasoning to it. There's these people behind the scenes who are there for whatever reasons. It's obviously deeper kind of hell related stuff, which is not my favorite part of it, but I think that just adds to like these are just like day workers doing their jobs of like putting these kids in an Evil Dead cabin in a sense. So I think my pairing with this and Evil Dead 2 is really fun. And shout out Richard Jenkins, man. He's just goated. He's goated in Step Brothers. He's goated in this movie. And also Chris Hemsworth. This may be Chris Hemsworth's best performance. I'm going to say it right now. Also, Furiosa.
Not
he's
5
really
seconds
good.
of Star Trek.
He's great in that. Not enough screen time, and he needs more screen time in Cabin in the Woods as well. But yeah, really fun, especially after seeing Scream kind of recently. Like this movie plays off of Evil Dead and Scream. Like it's similar to Scary Movie, I think, that it's referential to other horror movies, but it still takes itself seriously at the same time. So I think it does find that perfect medium for me personally.
All right, good solid list. Best of luck to you in the poll that won't happen.
You're probably winning off of Gremlins if we have a poll, but no, but have people seen Evil Dead 2? I mean, you haven't even seen it, so people probably haven't seen it then.
The real film fans, Cody. The real film fans know. I'm not a real one though.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You'll get there.
Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll catch you next week with some Oscars action.
Stay capping.
Peace.
Peace.
What you've just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.